Stop. Before you spend even a single euro, dollar, or yen, you must stop and ask yourself, what is this paper in my hand really? We aren't just going to talk about money. In 10 minutes, we are going to unravel the bizarre, invisible mechanism that steers your entire life. If you don't watch this, you'll miss the secret behind how our world really works. We dive into the why and the how behind this all-determining medium of exchange, and we unmask the myths that cause you to misuse money.
The primitive problem.
Let's go all the way back to the beginning, the primitive era, to the moment when an ancient problem made the birth of money inevitable. Imagine you're a farmer and you have 100 kilograms of potatoes. You urgently need a new, razor-sharp axe from the village blacksmith. That is called barter, or the barter economy, where goods and services are exchanged directly, without the use of money. But here comes the gigantic, insurmountable problem, the bottleneck of early civilization. The blacksmith doesn't need potatoes. The blacksmith wants a new sheep, and you don't have a sheep. You're stuck. You are now dealing with the problem of the double coincidence of wants. The double coincidence of wants means that in a barter exchange, both parties must precisely want what the other is offering at the exact same time and in the correct quantity. This is the reason that barter is unsustainable, because it severely hinders trade. This is why money exists, which is to destroy the logistical problem in one go. Money isn't a magical substance or a shimmering stone. It's a solution to an impossible logistical puzzle. The solution had to be perfect, and that led to something brilliant: money. But money is only truly money if it fulfills three fundamental functions. These three fundamental characteristics are that money must be a medium of exchange, it must also serve as a unit of account, and it must be a store of value. Now we will check if money meets these requirements. The three superpowers of money. The first function is the medium of exchange. This is the most obvious function that directly stems from the barrier of barter. Money allows you to sell your potatoes for a generally accepted medium, namely the money, with which you then buy that axe from the blacksmith. It is crucial to understand that the blacksmith accepts the money not because the paper is pretty, but because he knows everyone in the market will accept it. This is the bridge that bypasses the double coincidence of wants. Without this medium, we would still be preoccupied with the uncertain trade of sheep and potatoes. The second function that must be fulfilled is that of unit of account. After we solve the exchange problem, comes the problem of measurement. How much is that axe worth in exchange for the potatoes? And how much are the potatoes worth relative to the sheep? Without money, it would be 1 axe equals 5 sheep, or 100 kilograms of potatoes, or 30 chickens. That is unworkable chaos. Money solves this by giving everything a universal price. Unit of account is the function of money where it is used to measure and express the value of goods, services, and debts in a common denominator. Now the axe is 50 euros, period, end of discussion. The blacksmith knows exactly what those 50 euros are worth in terms of other goods and services without him having to physically see or trade the goods. This is an invisible but essential function that makes the economy readable and calculable. The last function is the store of value. This is where the tension lies in the modern monetary system. If you sell 100 kilograms of potatoes for money, you want the purchasing power of that money to be preserved until you want to use it again, maybe in a year. If the potatoes rot, the value is gone. If the money explodes or shrinks in value, you have a problem. economic concept, store of value is the function of money where it can transfer purchasing power from the present to the future without significant loss of value. This is the function that inflation directly threatens. We won't discuss the mechanisms of inflation now, that is a video in itself, but remember, if money loses its value too quickly, it loses its function as a store of value. And if it loses one of the three functions just mentioned, then money will lose its entire right to exist.
From gold to fiat, the evolution of value.
Now that we know why money exists and what it must be capable of, we look at the how question. How did we go from a handful of shells to digital screens? This happened in crucial steps. Step 1, commodity money. In the earliest and most intuitive phase, people used things that naturally had value and were scarce. Think of salt, cattle, and ultimately the most successful, gold and silver. We call this commodity money. Commodity money is money that derives its value from the substance from which it is made. It has an intrinsic value, such as the value of the gold itself, so it already has a value on its own. But gold has a big logistical problem. It is heavy, difficult to divide, and dangerous to transport over long distances. So humanity was smart enough to devise a necessary upgrade. Step 2, representative money. People began storing their heavy, dangerous gold in a vault, often with a goldsmith, the predecessor of the bank, and received a paper receipt in return. This receipt was representative of the gold in the vault and could be exchanged at any moment. You could now pay with the receipt, much lighter and easier to move. Representative money are claims on a commodity. It has no intrinsic value, but is exchangeable for a good that does have it, such as a banknote that is exchangeable for a specific quantity of gold. This seemed like the perfect compromise, the convenience of paper with the certainty of gold. But then came the biggest, most revolutionary step that turned our entire financial world upside down.
The fiat revolution and the central bank.
At a crucial moment in history, governments said, "We stop the promise." They definitively severed the link between the paper and the gold. From that moment on, the money you have in your wallet was fiat money. Fiat money is money that has no intrinsic value and is also not backed by a physical good, like gold, but that derives its value from the command of the government, the fiat, and the trust of its users. This is the point you must understand well. Your money only has value because the government legally says the money has value, and, much more importantly, because everyone believes it. This is not a trick. This is the foundation of the modern economy. The absolute core point of fiat money is trust. You have two layers of trust. Trust in acceptance. You believe that the supermarket, the baker, and your neighbor accept it as a means of payment. Trust in stability. You believe that the government and the central bank will protect its value. A central bank is a government institution that monitors the money traffic in a country. It determines how much money is in circulation and roughly what the interest rate should be. You could say that the central bank is the guardian of the value and stability of our money, fiat money. Without that collective, blind trust, a 50-euro banknote would be nothing more than a beautifully printed piece of paper. Money is essentially a social contract, or an agreement between citizens and the government.
The digital reality and the mechanism.
And now, the most common form of money, the numbers on your bank statement. Today, the majority of the money is digital, stored on computer servers of commercial banks. Why is this important? Because this money is created when a bank issues a loan. When you get a mortgage, the bank creates those euros in your account. This mechanism is called fractional reserve banking. Banks create new money from seemingly thin air. The money they create is added to the borrower's account as debt. This means the vast majority of your digital money is backed by nothing but debt. The total amount of money can only grow if the total amount of debt also grows. That's the shocking truth. We are trapped in a system where the expansion of debt is necessary just to keep the economic machine turning.
The ultimate test. This is it. Money is the most successful, most misunderstood technological invention of mankind. It is a social contract, a set of functions, and a piece of trust. You now understand the inner workings, and that is the basis for every future decision you make. Now is the moment to test your knowledge. Put your answers to these 3 crucial questions in the comments below.
What are the 3 functions of money? What is the core point that gives fiat money its value? What problem does money solve for the double coincidence?